I think one of our big selling points is that we've always been less than 40 people. We've always been based in the Midwest, Indiana grown. We're Hoosiers, so I think all that being said, we're pretty nimble and flexible, and we've been able to adapt and evolve with the marketplace.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Tyler Kanczuzewski. He's the Vice President of Sustainability at Inovateus Solar. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kelsey, thanks for having me. It's good to
Yeah.
be here.
Yeah, excited to have you. So Tyler, why don't you start and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I live in South Bend, Indiana. I'm a native here, lived here most of my life, and I graduated from Holy Cross College, which is across the street from Notre Dame, and there's St. Mary's, it's an all-girls school right there as well. But I graduated in 2012 and started working in the solar industry at a company called Inovateus Solar. So I've been there for over 10 years now, since 2012. That time flies. So I've had a lot of my professional experience has been in the solar industry, and lately I've gotten into more sustainability work outside of Inovateus as well.
Interesting. Tell me a little bit more about what you've been doing.
Definitely. So yeah, I'm the vice president of sustainability at Inovateus, and when I started, I was a little bit more in sales and marketing, and kind of started from the ground up at Inovateus. Learned a lot of the different departments, and have evolved into my role now as directing sustainability, and really got on that track after I finished an MBA at Grand Valley State University in Michigan, not too far from South Bend, only like an hour and 40 minutes away. And I did a sustainability track, or a sustainability emphasis, with my MBA. Finished that in 2019, and then I came back and really honed in and basically sold our leadership team that we need to really springboard our sustainability efforts. We have great roots within the company around uh, doing the right thing for the planet. How can we grow? And essentially, I was able to sell them on hiring me for that person to start the sustainability department in 2019. So and now I've grown and have been doing some good work, and have even gotten involved with some other companies. I have a family business with my siblings that our father started in the early 90s. It's called Logistic Inc., and it's a freight securement company, a really niche stuff, basically securing pallets and goods and semi-trailers and containers, securing them so there's no damages or there's no waste. And I help them with sustainability as well. So right now I split time between Inovateus Solar and Logistic primarily.
Interesting. Sounds like you've had an interesting career path kind of bringing you now to Inovateus. Tell me a little bit more about Inovateus.
Yeah, Inovateus is a fun company. We started in 2008, so we're about 15 years old, and that was started by my dad, Tom Kanczuzewski, my brother, TJ Kanczuzewski, and then Professor George Howard of Notre Dame. They all started it together. And Nathan Vogel, he's our longest tenured Inovateus employee. He was there in the beginning and helped craft the business plan as well, along with TJ. And they basically branched out of Inovateus development. They were doing homes and commercial buildings kind of to a LEED standard, and trying to be more sustainable. And solar was really growing, and then in 2008 the housing crash, and the building market was pretty volatile, so they decided to put all the eggs in the solar basket. and it's been a fun ride. Like I said, I got involved in 2012 as things were on the upward trend, and I've seen us be really adaptive to the industry, and our sweet spot has been for a while and still is a solar builder. So we do big ground mount projects or big rooftop projects. So we actually can design the system, procure all the equipment, hire a subcontractor or multiple subs to build it for us, see it all the way through construction, and then commission it, turn it on. And so we get hired by like a developer or somebody that's going to own the system to build it for them, design it, build it, and then even potentially maintain it. So we'd offer O&M services once it's installed. Most solar projects are pretty low maintenance, but they still have to be monitored, and so we can do that as well. So we're what's called a EPC in the solar industry, which stands for engineering, procurement, and construction. And it's basically like you're just a builder or a general contractor, and you would still have like hire out your subcontractors to do various work for you.
Interesting, interesting. And when you're talking about these different projects, do you tend to see trends in whether the locations or who is necessarily like receiving the different solar?
Yeah. So we're headquartered in South Bend, Indiana. We've done a lot of our work in the Midwest, and we try to be local as possible and hire local labor when we can. But there's certain markets that take off and grow outside of the Midwest. So at times we're doing projects outside of the Midwest. For instance, we've done work in New Jersey or New York, or we're actually building some projects right now in New York. We've done work in Kansas, Georgia. So we've worked in a lot of states. I think it's over 20 states now we've worked in. So there is markets, a lot of it's around regulatory or policy related things, and payback ROI. Like if certain markets, because of incentives in place, and the regulatory market, you might have like a 2 to 4 year payback on a solar array. So that area, that region will take off, and we'll get potentially more involved there. But in 2008 when we started, not many solar companies were in the Midwest. A lot of it was focused on the East and West Coast, where things were a little bit more progressive traditionally, some of the bigger cities. So now we've seen solar like really take off in the Midwest, especially the last couple of years, the last 5 years. Really big projects going on in farmland, because there's so much farmland in the Midwest, and some of it, the soil quality has gone downhill. So farmers are like resting their land per se, which means they can lease out their land for solar projects. So we're really tapping into some of the big like farm and agriculture related projects.
Interesting. And you mentioned Innovatus being an EPC. There, obviously are other EPCs out there. Talk to me about, how Innovatus is really able to stand out from its competition.
I think one of our big selling points is that we've always been less than 40 people. We've always been based in the Midwest, Indiana grown. We're Hoosiers. So I think all that being said, we're pretty nimble and flexible, and we've been able to adapt and evolve with the marketplace. Some people might say, well, aren't you missing out? Like, couldn't you hyper focus on a segment of the market and do better? And at times we do that, but because we've been smaller, not had a massive overhead, we've been able to figure out year over year how to adapt and evolve with the marketplace, because the industry is always changing. The regulatory market policies and paybacks and certain markets, everything's in flux. So we really have, I think, had a competitive advantage to to be adaptive and be able to evolve with the marketplace. And we've had a culture of being like Midwest nice. A lot of people have called us like, oh, you guys are like the Midwest nice folks. And so we've always gotten complimented at like national shows because we're like the, I don't know, like the underdog story, maybe that's what it is. And so we've always ran with that, like, yeah, we are the nice guys, like you do want to work with us, like we do have a fun culture, good brand. So I think those are some competitive advantages.
I think that's fantastic. And I'm curious, I'm not an expert in solar. So when we're talking about your clients, do you tend to see the biggest challenge as not having, the capability or, a place to start when it comes to solar? Or do you tend to find yourself coming into projects like halfway through?
So yeah, what we call that in solar, probably a lot of industries, like shovel ready projects. Um, with the EPC market, like a lot of times, yeah, you will come into a project that's already, the site's already been leased, or the roof has already been selected, and they've already kind of done some preliminary engineering, or selected equipment they want to use. So yeah, a lot of times we do come in and things are already like well along, especially more lately. But when we started, it wasn't always that way. Like we were really having to pitch solar. I'd really say the first 5 years of the company, including even into 2015 when I was starting, and I started in 2012, like that stretch, we were doing a lot of education. Like solar wasn't mainstream yet. So we were really having to talk about the technology. How long is it going to last? Does it really work? Does it, like a common thing is, does it work in the Midwest? Like, is it sunny enough? And it's a good question, but the answer is always yes, yes. For instance, Germany, I don't know if it's true anymore, but at one point Germany had installed the most solar in the world. And Germany gets about the same amount of average sun hours a day as like a lot of Alaska. So we would always tell people, hey, if you can do solar in Germany and Alaska, you can do solar in the Midwest, and don't be afraid of cloudy days or snowy days. Sun still penetrates through our clouds and actually still generates power. So solar is become mainstream, I think, and so there needs to be less and less education and selling people on solar as opposed to our beginning years. So yeah, primarily people are ready or have made up their mind that they want to go solar, and there's so many customers now that already have made up their mind they want to go solar, or they've already taken the steps to do it. So like when we come in, the bus has already left the station, so it's easier to get the project done, or at least started.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
I like that analogy. That's awesome. So it sounds like, you've been really on the ground, hitting the dirt, as they say, talking about education, where you started back in, I think you mentioned 2012 or 2015, to where you are now. And, the importance of, like you said, education. And talk to me a little bit about how sustainability kind of pulls into that and pulls that into Innovatus.
Yeah. So when I started the sustainability focus in 2019, we were doing a little research on the marketplace, and like one little basic thing was like not many solar companies were doing a sustainability report. So I was big on, we got to get a sustainability report going, and then we looked at like green teams. A lot of different industries, they'll launch a green team to really springboard sustainability efforts. So we did that, and we started doing things that we thought weren't being done in the industry quite yet, and that there was a need for this sustainability focus, not only for ourselves and to grow our brand and our company, but also to help the industry think about more about sustainability or circularity, more of like a circular economy concept to reduce our impact. And the last 5 years, I think the industry has really changed because solar has grown so much and it's taken up a lot of land in some cases. So I think a lot of companies, and not just us, have realized that there's still a footprint with solar development, and what are ways we can reduce our footprint. So we've been a part of that. Hopefully we've encouraged others to grow their sustainability focus and what that means and how to reduce your company footprint while also making more money. Like that, let's face it, like everybody wants to make more money, right? And so if you can show we can do things that are more sustainable and environmental friendly, lowering our footprint, but also make more money doing it, like that's an ultimate win. And we've been able to prove that. Like, for instance, recycling like construction debris waste at the sites, a lot of cases, if we're recycling versus landfilling, we're spending less money on the waste management, because either way you got to manage waste in construction, right? So we've been able to showcase that recycling is saving us money, or like pretty much breaking even compared to landfilling, which is a win because it's better for the environment, it's better for our brand, it's better for everybody. So the habitat has been another area of focus, trying to do more eco-friendly habitat. So pollinator habitat or native plant species have really become a model in the solar industry, underneath the solar panels and around the solar panels. And companies are even doing a lot of sheep grazing, so there's benefits around that. So there's this movement within solar called agrivoltaics, and there's even conferences now within solar focused on this, basically environmental things you can do with solar to be more sustainable, reduce your impact, and work more in harmony with nature. So a lot of these things have just taken off, and we've been a part of it. Hopefully have encouraged people to change and grow. So I've been just thrilled with the growth in the industry, and I'm happy to say that we've come a long way in the 5 years that we've been doing sustainability now. I think it's 5 years. Bad with basic math, but I'm working at it, because that's part of sustainability, is showing people the numbers and like, hey, if we're spending X amount of dollars on something, what's it saving you? And so in a lot of cases, I'm trying to show, by spending money on sustainability, here are the savings. And in a lot of cases, like I said, we're saving quite a bit, and it's kind of a no-brainer. I don't have to sell it as much as we did 5 years ago, when there were still questions about, is this really sustainable, or should we really be doing this?
Well, that's awesome. Well, Tyler, as we start to wrap up this episode, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, whether it be advice, anything about the industry, solar sustainability, anything you want to leave our listeners with?
I think sustainability, and the word gets used a lot now, and there's different words that are thrown around along with it. Circular economy, regenerative, like a regenerative concept. There's some great words out there that are all tied to sustainability, and kind of like how to do business while having a minimal impact on the environment, or even a net benefit on the environment. And in terms of that, I think it's about continuous learning and gaining knowledge and learning every day to continually improve, because what you thought was sustainable a year ago might not be as sustainable today. So never settle. I think that applies to everything within a professional industry, or whatever career you choose. Like, never settle. Always try to gain more insights and knowledge, and continue to improve. And keep chasing that vision. I think the more your company or in your role, the more you can be adaptive and evolving too, because things are always changing. And sounds like there's somebody outside honking. I don't know if you're picking that up, but okay, good. So yeah, being able to change with the times and be proactive. Like be proactive versus reactive as much as you can. I think is a great easy saying. So I'm a sustainability junkie, or some might call me a tree hugger. I'm big on conservation, saving our environment, and really big into waste and recycling. And happy to share that I actually recently published a book called Reinvent Your Waste. And it's all about a model for understanding that resources on our planet are scarce, and that we basically shouldn't be landfilling anymore or throwing stuff out in the water on our streets. Like, we really need to treat trash as a treasure and reinvent it and find ways to reuse it or recycle it and get rid of the landfill model. I think the landfill model served a purpose, and I applaud everybody that's been involved in that. But now if we can get rid of landfills, I think that would be a win. So that's kind of what the book dives into, and I'm able to use it in my professional career, because I think recycling and reinventing waste really aligns with this, like the circular economy concept, and eliminating waste from business, from our lives, and maximizing or having a net impact on the planet, if possible. It's pretty hard. Humans, we do have an impact on the world. So, but if you can have a business or have a family and give back to our Mother Earth, I think that's the ultimate win. So, but yeah, if anybody wants to download the book, you can go to reinventyourwaste.com. Or you can also just go on Amazon or Barnes and Noble and type in Reinvent Your Waste book. And right now, for the next couple months, it's downloadable for 99 cents digital. And then there's going to be an audio version released soon. Or you can buy a soft cover copy as well. Although that might be the least sustainable option, but you can do that as well.
Fantastic. Well, Tyler, thank you again. I think this has been a terrific conversation. I appreciate all of your insights, all of your advice, and I really appreciate you being on Business Ninjas today.
Thanks so much for having me. Yeah, it was fun to talk about everything I love. So, Kelsey, I really appreciate being on the podcast.
Great to have you.